So now we get to the one movie I picked to be on this list which I was not looking forward to. As some of you know, one of my all-time favourite dinosaur films, one I watched a lot in my youth, was The Land That Time Forgot from 1975. That movie is far from a great film for most people, but for me, nostalgia blinds me to the faults, and I think it's genuinely entertaining, with an innovative plot based off the novel by Edgar Rice Burroughs, some decent acting, and fun puppetry. I owned the DVD, some posters, and even a Super 8 film reel of some selected scenes. It may be a B movie, but it's one that I treasure to this day. Even as a kid, I hoped one day to see a modern adaptation with high budget effects. So when I heard there was going to be a remake back in 2008, I was excited to see it. But then I saw the DVD in stores, and I was instantly put off, and I decided not to watch it, until now. The old saying never judge a book by its cover doesn't apply here because this film is as bad as I expected. But it's not bad because it's crazy or too over the top for an asylum flick. It's bad because it's so boring, and boring bad movies are the worst of the worst. The plot follows this boat of Americans who are lost at sea, who accidentally get sucked through a time hole. They get transported to an island where dinosaurs exist, and several other groups from different time periods, including a bunch of Germans left over from fighting World War I. They are living on the other side of the island in their own kind of little territory. Their U-boat sits half buried in the sand on the beach. After attempting to rescue one of their group who was found by the Germans and kidnapped, the survivors lure a Tyrannosaurus Rex to the German camp as a distraction, but after it attacks and kills one of the Germans, they're all forced to team up to try and kill the dinosaur once and for all, and then find a way to escape the island. They manage to blow up the T-Rex, pull petroleum from the island, and begin to dig the submarine out of the sand, ready for high tide to, help carry it out into the ocean. However, another Tyrannosaur turns up and prevents one of them from leaving. The submarine then escapes with everyone on board, and the guy is left behind. But it's not long before he discovers his wife actually jumped ship to stay behind with him. They write a letter about their situation and how they came to be on this island, and then the movie's over. The differences between this one and the 1975 film are quite substantial, and this is the perfect example of two B movies covering the same kind of story, but both being different in their entertainment levels. They're both about the same length in runtime. The 1975 one moves along at a brisk pace and doesn't get boring, whereas this newer version just seems to drag on and feels like it's about 4 hours long. One major difference is how the characters end up on the island. In the original, survivors of a downed British ship take over a German sub, and after the Germans sabotage the compass which turns them towards the continent of Caprona, they have to fight for survival against dinosaurs, and you know the rest. There's no time hole, and the Germans and the British characters are working together well before they find the island. The 1975 film follows the original book's plot a lot closer, whereas this 2009 film just has some stupid uninteresting time hole. There's barely any character development, whereas in the 1975 film we spend a good portion of time with the characters before the real adventure begins.
Nice shooting, Mr. Tyler. Get fuel, supplies, fresh water. We have enough supplies for 1 week. What do you propose to do now, Commander?
There's no erupting volcanoes in this new version, no cavemen, no hint of the island being host to the many stages of evolution, no real conflict between the American group and the Germans. They all seem to just get along. The only interesting aspect this new film gave was the idea that the Germans were still under the illusion that the war was still going on, but it doesn't really get any type of payoff at all. So it's just a horrible tease. And lastly, the new version severely lacks dinosaurs. We see a dead Gallimimus, some pteranodons briefly, a tentacle which bursts from a lake at one point and grabs someone, a big bug, and the 2 Tyrannosaurs that look pretty much identical. That's it. It's really underwhelming when compared to the vast amount of species in the 1975 film. This movie is one that time should forget. Stick to the old one, and I sincerely hope that one day we do get a big budget version of this story. Man, I would kill to see Ridley Scott's take on The Land That Time Forgot, but that will only ever be a dream.